Okay ladies, let's carry on with our little rolled hemming. So I have a bigger bit of fabric now, which is fantastic. So this time I'm going to leave the blade down and I'm going to show you how to make this cute little scarf. So I do want to have it fluted. Remember, watch that little tail. Let's go down one side and stretch it if you want it really fluted as well, even if you've got the differential feed on. And this is a slightly thicker fabric, so I don't really need to have it any thicker on the edge. It's fine. And then I'm going to go down the other side. So this scarf is about 6 inches wide, 6-7 inches wide. There you go, down both sides. It's the quickest scarf you'll ever make. And I don't really need to fray check this end because I'm going to be roll edging it together, so I will just cut those little ends off. And if you haven't got a pair of snips like this beside your machine, get them because they're invaluable. Rather than sewing this next bit on the sewing machine, I'm just going to overlock it, because why not? Pretend this is a nice big scarf, because I can. So I'm just going to overlock it together. And I can either stretch overlock it, or I can put my differential feed on. I'm going to overlock both sides, and then I'll just straight stitch it on the sewing machine. When you're doing things like this and it's curly, use your tweezers. Get your tweezers, and you can help get it up underneath to your needle. There you go. Much easier. I think it's in. Find out in a minute. Watch that curly tail. See how it curls around? Really, really watch that, because it's a nuisance. When you run back over it, you'll get all jammed up. So I might flute this edge. Now this time, this end here, you can't thread back through because it is too thick. So you're going to get your fray check, which is not beside me, my little fray check glue, which has run away, and I'm going to have to find it. Do you do this, girls? Do you lose things all the time? Okay, running to find it because I don't know where I've put it. Oh, found it. Alright, here's my fray check. Love this stuff. So this is a clear glue. Comes in a slightly different bottle now. I think I showed it to you last time. And you just put a dab on the end of your overlocking, turn it over, and put a dab at the end of your overlocking there. And now I'm going to do the other side. Make sure when you're finished using it, you screw it back up, and it will last seriously for years. It's wonderful stuff. Now I'm going to do this side. And remember, use your tweezers. It really, really helps when you're doing this. The only thing I'd like on this overlock would be a knee control. That would be fantastic. But watch this space, because who knows? Bernina with anything can happen. Go down your other side. And fray check it. Once that fray check has dried, then you can cut those threads straight back right to where you fray checked them. You don't have to worry about it. So they only take a couple of minutes to dry. Now you can use the fray check for on the end of ribbons and braids, wherever. It's very, very handy. So I'm going to go back this end, and I'm going to cut off those right back because I don't need to worry. Oops, that flew somewhere else. And if that one was dry, it will dry, but you would wait for it to dry yourselves. You can cut that one back. It's easier to cut when it's dry. See how difficult it is when it's not quite dry. Cut that one back. And all I did, I either put right sides together, but I put wrong sides together and made that as my feature, obviously with red thread. And I just straight stitched across here, and that was the finish of my scarf. So Now I will show you. Here's my scarf. You can either wear that as a feature, or you can just turn it in and wear it this way, because really with merino it's very hard to tell the right and wrong side. Now the reason why you end up making a scarf, I'm just going to shake it out and get it all around the right way. I'll stand up and show you. The reason why you make a scarf like this into a circle, then you do not need to worry about how it's going to fall and hang when you're wearing it. So this is 150 wide centimeters of fabric, so it's the width of the fabric by 6 inches, and when you put it around your neck, all you have to do is go like that and go like that, and your scarf is always going to fall in the correct way. If you want your scarf higher up around your neck, you simply do 1 and 2, and you can wear your scarf up nice and high. So my mum, being a little bit older, she now makes us do all her scarves and join them in the circle, because she said she doesn't have to worry and they always hang nice. But I think they're quite pretty with the rolled hemming, and this year we've chosen very bright uniforms, which you'll see next month, and we are all going to be wearing little merino scarves. So it's a very pretty finish, and it's a very easy scarf to make. So that is 6 inches of fabric by 150 wide centimeters. Very, very easy. So now I'm going to turn my overlocker off, and I will just show you how you'd sew your wrap together. So this is your piece of fabric, which is a rectangle, and all you do is do your 3 thread overlocking around every single piece of fabric, so you have one straight edge. And then you put right side to right side, and you pin up the length that it tells you on your notes. Now all you're going to do on the sewing machine is a 1.5 centimeter seam all the way up here, and this part makes your cowl neck. So you can make this as deep or as shallow as you like. So this is your neck edge, this goes around the front of you. So once you've actually stitched this, then this is going to be pressed back to 1.5 centimeters. But because it's a stretch fabric, sometimes it moves when you try and stitch it. So to avoid that, I'm going to show you a wonderful little tip on my iron over here. So I found this wonderful hemming web, and it's called Core Bond. And oops, I'll just show you it. It's a very fine, fusible web. Now the beauty of this one, it's not the one I've shown you before that we use for putting in the invisible zips. This is quite different. It's very similar to Veliza Fix, but it has no paper on it. So how you use this one is, I've just got my little ham here, because I think it'll be easy to show you. So here's your top that you have 3 thread roll edged all the way around, and then you press your seam open. Alright, so when you're going to press your seam open like this, make sure you've got it nice and flat, that your iron's turned on, and you simply press your seam nice and flat like that. But what I did do is I straight stitched the seam down here, so it was never going to flick forward. It made it nice and easy. And then all around my neck edge, I'll pop it up on this ham to show you. Robin always cheats, I can't help myself. I've got my hemming web inside here, and when I turn over my 1.5 seam, my hemming web is sitting underneath my seam like that, and I simply press it, and then I don't have to worry about it stretching before I'm ready to sew. So now I just iron with my hemming web, with my iron in my hemming web, and there I have now fused that facing down, and it will not come forward. So you can see if I fold it back, I've got hemming web, you can just see the peak of it sticking out there, and it's all fused to hold it. Shall I show you that again? Turn it over, and you can see that little bit of hemming web peeking out there. If I pull that back, see the hemming web? And now I'm going to just fuse that back down. So then you fuse that back down, because you don't want to see that obviously. And you do that all around your neck edge, right around your neck edge. Now when you're finished, you turn it to the right side, and the beauty of it is it still has give. So what it's done is, even though it's fused in there, when I stretch it, it still has give. And now all I do is top stitch it on the right side with a straight stitch all the way around. Now that is all you have to do to finish your wrap, and that's how simple it is. It's just a rectangle of fabric, folded in half, fused and top stitched. So simple and very, very nice and easy. So these merinos that we sell are very good quality. It's going to cost you about $12.75 to make this, and you can purchase them for $80 to up to $140. So I thought you might like to know how to make your own. Right, now we're going to have a lot of fun with the sewing machine. So I'm going to show you a new product. It's, well, a new product to some of you ladies. It's been around for quite a while, for a few years, and some of you may know it as shrink fabric. So the one I've got today is called Texture Magic, and it's brought out by Superior Threads. But we also use Shrink Magic, and it's brought out by Clover. So this is the Texture Magic I'm going to show you today. And to tell you the truth, it looks like Parker nylon. So this is what it looks like. And it looks very plasticky, and but you definitely don't want an iron going near this until you've stitched it. So we work with this underneath our fabric, or between our fabric, or on the back of our fabric, wherever we want to use it. And this particular packet, you can see, it says that it shrinks up to 30%. This is my favourite shrink one to buy, with the 30% shrinkage. Some of them shrink up to 60%, and I think it's a little bit too much. So this one is 1 metre by 1.20 meters, so it's a good amount of fabric to have. So that one we sell. And I just pinned it on the back of some velvet today, because I want to show you how to shrink up velvet fabric, because it's quite incredible. So I'll turn my machine on. You normally use the same colour thread as your fabric, so I'm going to thread up my black metricine. And remember, you're going to be using the darning foot today, because I'm going to be freehand stitching. So when you're doing something like this, you're not going to be using your sewing machine with your feed dogs up. You're going to be using the darning foot with your feed dogs down. However, I will show you later how you can do it with the feed dogs up and the different look you get. So I've got black thread in my bobbin, I've got black thread on the top, I've got my feed dogs drop down, and I'm just going to be doing what's called stippling, which I'll show you in a minute. So whenever you're doing this type of work, you want to bring your bobbin thread to the top, and I'll just turn it by hand to show you, and pull those threads like that, hold those threads, and then you want to start stitching. So you just lock off the threads and put your needle stop down function on, which is brilliant for this, and then lift your foot up and cut your threads so you don't have anything hanging around. Okay, foot back down. Now try and keep your back straight. When people do freehand quilting, they tend to go a bit like this and they hurt their shoulders. So you need to keep your hands straight, and everything will be much easier. Now my trick to this, I think, is fast foot, slow hands. So I put my foot flat down and I turn my hands slow. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going around in nice curved stitches, and I'm making my foot nice and steady, as you can see. And I'm just going anywhere I want to go, trying to make it nice and big, because it's going to shrink up to 30%. Okay, so you just come down here and you keep stitching all the way around, trying not to cross it over, but it doesn't matter if you do. And that is freehand stitching. If I put my foot flat down, yes, my foot will go faster, but I've got to move my hands faster. So when you're learning, I suggest you put your stitch control to half speed, put your foot flat down, and then you can control your hands. Clever, isn't it? Now, for those of you ladies that have got a Bernina Stitch regulator, I'm going to show you that. But first of all, I want to show you the back of my work. Oops, I crossed over once. Look, even I can do it. So this is called stippling, and I'm just sewing anywhere. And you can see the tension's fine because I've got the same thread top and bottom. All right. Now I'm going to take this foot off and show you that that is just my standard darning foot. And inside this little box, I have my Bernina Stitch regulator. Now the reason why I'm showing you, because a lot of you ladies do have this and you aren't sure how to use it correctly. So this is your Bernina Stitch regulator, and you can see that the feet look exactly the same underneath. The beauty of this little foot is when I sew, it regulates my stitch length so my stitches are all perfect. But it comes with extra feet, base soles should I say. And this one is my favourite, so I'm going to put this on today. Now to put this on, all you do is you push these little lugs and you take that foot off. And then this just slides on. And now I have a lovely big sole, and it keeps my feet, my fabric nice and flat. It also comes with another little sole, and this is called the open toe foot. I don't use this as much as the other two, but it does come with it if you want to use it, and it clips on exactly the same way. So keep them all nice in your little box. I love this box. This is the one that came out in 2008, but they've started using it in the machines for the Bernina Stitch regulators. I think it's really, really pretty. So that just come out with one of the latest machines. Right, so this just fits on like a normal foot onto here. But this piece on the bigger machines plugs into the back of the machines, but on this machine it plugs in underneath here. So you will have either a plug-in underneath or a plug-in at the back of your machine. Now when this is in correctly, your machine will come up, and it's not coming up, it will come up with BSR on the front of your machine. So I'm just going to re-plug it till it comes up, and then you're going to push the BSR button. There we go, now it's come up. So what it's done is it's now flashing BSR, and I'm going to turn it around so you can see it. So on the machine, it's showing you BSR, BSR1, and there's a little BSR there. Is that showing up nice and clear? So this is BSR1. Now, so I will just move to the machine. Now how the BSR1 works is you're going to bring up your bobbin thread just like we did before. So bring up your bobbin thread, and as soon as you put your foot down, a red laser is going to show, like that. And the machine is going to sew even when you don't move the fabric. So when I put my foot down, the machine sews even if I don't move the fabric, the same as what your machine did. But this machine is preset on 2 length. So I want to make that longer. Okay, so I've preset it on 3, and I'm going to hold down my number 1 button till that bleep appears. Now if I go too fast, my machine is going to tell me, and I need to slow down or I won't get regular stitches. So that's why they developed the foot. So now when I sew, I actually just turned it off then. I'm going to do that again. Right, so now when I sew, I'm obviously not going too fast. See, I've actually got it working good because I'm not going too fast. If I went too fast, it would bleed. I can't tell if I put it on or off now because I've got used to the speed. Okay, now I'm going to cheat. There we go. See how I went too fast and it bleeped? You hear the little bleep? So if that bleep comes on, it means that you are going too fast and you're not going to get regular stitches. So now I'll behave and I'll do it at the right speed, or I'll get in trouble with my machine. Okay, so now I've got no bleeping, and if I go too fast, it bleeps. So it's to teach you to sew at an even speed. So again, if I turn it off, I can sew at any speed and not get into trouble, but I won't have regular stitches. Okay, now that's BSR 1. I'm now going to push BSR 2, and this is a totally different mode on this machine. So when I start sewing, nothing's going to happen but the laser light has come on. So it is only going to sew when you move the fabric, and my foot's flat down, but when I stop, the machine stops. When I go, the machine goes. So that's BSR 2. Okay, so I've stopped and it stops. Now there's something else you can do. You can take the foot control out. Now, when I want to use my sewing machine now, I need to push the start stop button, and this will make my machine sew. But on BSR 2, it's only going to sew when I move the fabric. When I stop, the machine will stop. I'll just go without it because it's still on, the laser. When I go, the machine goes. Alright, and when I stop, it stops. And you turn it off by pushing that button again. Go back to BSR 1. Now when I turn this on, it's going to keep going until I turn it off. So I'm going to start it. Whoops, there it goes. And even if I stop moving my fabric, the BSR is going to keep sewing. Okay, so I need to keep sewing. And when I've had enough of sewing, then I'm going to turn it off using my start stop button. I'll just sew to the other side. So I'll sew to here, and the only way to turn that off now is to push this button. Now not all of you ladies will need to do that. With some of the new machines, you can leave your foot control in and it will use it with that button and without the foot control. So with the foot control in on the bigger machines, it will still let you use the start stop button. Now here's my work, and you can see I've stippled all the way across here. Now the magic begins. So that's all the sewing we're going to be doing. Now we're going to come back to the iron, and you're going to get your iron steaming. And I'll put it up here so you can see it. This is absolute magic. So get your iron so it's steaming. Hold your iron above your fabric and watch the magic. How crazy is that? I hope you can see it. It's completely shrinking up in front of your eyes. I'll turn it around this way so you can see. See how it's shrinking up? Do not put it on the fabric. You just hold it above the fabric and the fabric's all shrinking. Clever, so clever. Isn't that amazing? So try not to touch it with the iron. You get a facial at the same time, it's great. Yep, there goes my steam. That was my water. Okay, so now when I turn it over, I'll show you with other fabric. Let me come back here. It's hard to see with this fabric. So now what I've got is this beautiful crinkled, crushed up fabric. Now let me show you on this one so you can see it clearly. So this was my stippling, and this was just shrink, and then I used a layer of wadding, and then I used a layer of fabric, and I've got this beautiful textured fabric. This one was shrink fabric sandwiched in between two fabrics. Now you can see you get a much better result when your stitches are bigger. This one I just sewed on the sewing machine with my feed dogs up, and I cross hatched it, and you can see how that shrunk up. And the same with this one. This one was just straight stitched in rows about 1 inch apart, and then I went back the other way, and you can see how that one shrunk up. So the fabric itself just shrinks because it's plasticky, but the shrink fabric, but the fabric comes up and you get beautiful, beautiful textures. I love it. I absolutely love it. So have a lot of fun with it. If you don't know where to buy it from your local store, just send me an email because we have it. And it's brilliant, brilliant fabric. And I'll actually pop it on our website now that we've got a good stock of it back in. So I'll show it again. The one we've got at the moment is called Texture Magic. It's brilliant. So you can see the before and the after shot on here as well. It shows it very, very clearly. So yeah, have some fun. Play with your machine. It's the one time that you're going to stipple that it really doesn't matter if your stitches are perfect, because it will just shrink up and the right side is always going to be your fabric. So there you go. There's something new for you to play with and have fun with. So this is the sort of thing you could use as blocks in a quilt. I'm thinking of making a blanket for a dear auntie of my husband's who is a little bit blind now, or very blind now, and I thought maybe a textured little blanket might be really, really nice for her because she can touch and feel it, and it would be something different. So I'm thinking I might make her a little blanket up, but maybe with some nice soft fabric that will be nice soft to feel. So there you go, girls and maybe boys. I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll have something new and exciting to show you in May. So I'll see you then.